Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1973 Winter Baseball Classic Tournament. We continue in the round of four, looking for one of the fourth team to join the semifinals. Let's look at the bracket, and we'll show you that. We have seen Halifax advance with a 10-5 record, Memphis at 10-6, Mississippi 10-6. Very competitive field. Looking for a fourth team, and we have the longest shot, the number 8 versus number 1. However, this must be stated, there's only a game difference in the loss column here between the two clubs, game and a half. And Savannah won this thing a year ago. They take on number 1 Missoula. Now the thing is, they do need to win 4 of 6. Winning 3 out of 2 only gets you to a tie-breaking game 6. With that being said, this is what's happened. Game 1 opened up in Missoula, and Savannah went on the road and won game 1. But Missoula responded in game 2 by blowing out and drubbing Savannah 11-0 behind Wilbur Wood over Tom Bradley. And then in game 3, we saw Bill Hands versus Al Downing, who's been kind of a spring training legend the last few years. He was a championship game pitcher a year ago, and he's trying to get back there again, but he ran out of gas in the 7th inning, and Missoula, here's the mountain, the M here for the college town, whatever, they got a win in game 3 on the road. Pretty impressive for a number 1 seed. So they are up 2-1 in a series. They just need a third win, and they advance. Savannah is up against it now. They already have the 2 losses. They got to win out. They got to win 3 straight. They got to win today. Go to Missoula for a game 5, win that, and then a tie-breaking game, which would be in Missoula as well. So that's not boding well for Savannah. What does bode well for the defending champs is the pitching matchup. Missoula has Steve Arlen out there. He actually threw over 200 innings for the Padres for a few years in the early 70s. In 73, though, he's got a 5.10 ERA and 180 innings. And he's got to figure out a way of winning against Bob Gibson. We could call this Bob Gibson's last great card of 73. He's got a 277 on run average, 195 innings. For some reason in 74, they asked him to throw more. And he pitched on 3 days rest in 74, wasn't as successful. And 75 was his last year, and he was pretty bad. So, Bob Gibson's last great card, pretty much Cardinals are going to pick that one up versus 74. And Steve Arlen here from Savannah, land of the Spanish Moss. Let's get started. Leading off for Missoula, Paul Blair. 56 is a single. Danny Dole's going to hit and run. Missoula's going to play this game as an underdog with scrappy utilization strategies, as such as a hit and run. However, it doesn't work. You got a fielder's choice. Ted Simmons, 54 off of Gibson. It's Homer 1 of 13. It is gone. Ted Simmons having a nice tournament. 2-0 visitors. Eric Soderholm, 66, single on a 1 line out. And Oscar Gamble, 63, pitcher X, Gibson's an E14. And he surrenders a single. Very uncharacteristic for Bob. And Dave Winfield, 55, double 1 of 12. They're trying to make him pay for that mistake. It's 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs for Larry Stahl. And Larry Stahl, triple 1 of 16 on his card. He gets it. Huge break for the visitors. Even though they're up in the series, pitching mismatch. It's 4-zip with a runner at 3rd. Joe Liss, 47th, a strikeout. Big move here for Missoula. Not only can you win this series early, you're also knocking around the defending champs. That should give the number 1 seed Missoula team plenty of... I don't think Missoula's ever won this whole tournament before. And they've had a lot of soul-crushing failures previously. And a golden opportunity this year. So Steve Arlen trots out to the mound with a 4-run lead. It's up to him to maybe get through 5 innings without blowing it. Leading off for Savannah is Lou Brock. He grounds a short. Dave Cash, 2/8 up, double 1 of 3, base hit. Jim Spencer, 43. Left X. Out in left field, you have Larry Stahls, a 316. That's a 2-base error. Defense is not helping these pitchers. Second and third for Larry Heisel. Lefty question mark. We want to run Cash? Sure. 16, 17, 18. He scores. Runner second, 2 outs for Milt May. He grounds a second. 4-1. Ted Kubiak, 34. Lions the first. If you're wondering about the Strat cards, we're going to see the 20 cards of the team that loses the series at the end of the video. Stick around for that. Paul Blair, 57's a K. Denny Doyle, 39's a single. Ted Simmons, 1-3, a fly ball to right. 4-1. Terry Crowley, 6'10", third X. Your third baseman is Soderholm's a 334 in his rookie year, or second year. That's a base hit. Gene Tornado Alley. That is a 6-4-3 double play for Gene. Not a good look. I think it's his final year. Daryl Thomas, 59, second X. Your second baseman. Denny Doyle's a 2E23 at second base. Eddie boots the ball. We're seeing some sloppy offense and defense, really. Bobby Tolan, 1-7 is a K. Double plays on the cards and blown X's defensively. Into the third, Soderholm. 1-9's a single. Oscar Gamble, 63. Pitcher X, Gibson again, E14. This is where it all came unglued in the first inning. And he makes an error. Obviously, age is creeping up on Bob, apparently. 2 on, Dave Winfield. That's a strikeout. Larry Stahl had the big triple earlier. 37's a K. And by the way, Larry Stahl had 2 triples and 111 at-bats, if you're wondering why he has a triple chance on 5. Joe List, 2-4, flies left field. 2 on, they don't add to the lead. Bottom of the third. Lou Brock, 68's a walk. Do you steal down 3? I don't do that against a -1 arm catcher. Dave Cash. Fielder's choice, stays out of the double play. Jim Spencer. Here we go off Arlen. It's Homer, 1-6 double. It is gone, and just like that, it's a 4-3 game. Larry Heisel with 1 out, 45, second. Milt May, second X. Your second baseman, again, Denny Doyle's a 2E23, makes the play. Creeping back, the Spanish moss, like it's creeping on a tree, creeping down the vines of a tree. All right, Ted Kubiak, 311, hits his card double 1-13 and gets it. Ted Kubiak, the 220 hitter, found a spot on his card, put a double. Paul Blair, 54, on a 1 fly ball against Gibson. That's a fly ball, long can of corn. Denny Doyle, 47's a strikeout, and Ted Simmons with 2 outs, third X, needed this defensively. Gene Alley's a 4E14 and need him to make a play here. He cannot. It's a single on that bad range at third base, and that makes it 5-3. Now we're seeing these opportunities, mistake after mistake in this one. Soderholm strikes out. To the dismay of Gibson, he's down another run. Plus everything's earned, unfortunately. Terry Crowley, 59, second X. Denny Doyle's a 2E23 at second base. Another error. Another mistake. 3 errors by the team that's winning. Gene Alley, 58 Ks. Daryl Thomas, 412, flies to right, and with 2 outs, Bobby Tolan of the Bells, 37, double 1, single. They're on the corners. Tie run at first, lead run is Lou Brock. 38 for Lou is a walk. The bases are loaded for Dave Cash, having a nice tournament to this point. 3-6 is a fly to center field. Somehow it stays a 2-run game. Missoula sent 2 more batters to the plate with a 2-run lead into the 5th. It's Oscar Gamble. 3-6 on Oscar Gamble's card. He hits a ton of home runs, 20 of them, and 390 at-bats. 3-6 is homer 1-18. It is smoked. It is 6-3 Missoula. This could be a, this could be a big move in the overall tournament. Dave Winfield, 55. Double 1-12 off Gibson gets it. Larry Stahl, 66. Base hit right field. They're knocking Gibson around here suddenly. I could run Winfield on a 16 with no one out. I will. And I score. 7-3 visitors. Nobody's out. Joe Liss, 2-8 is a K. Kubiak, 4-10. Pops short. And Paul Blair, 2-5 short. We're just going to ride Gibson till the wheels fall off. He's the best pitcher on this team that's down by 4 and down 2-1 in the series. Bottom of the 5th, chance to note, the nice little extra pitchers we have here. Again, this is the kind of the outskirts of the town of Missoula, the bridge over the river there near the college, a big M on the mountain. And of course, this, I believe, is in Forsyth Park in Savannah, Georgia. So, 2 beautiful places. Bottom of the 5th, Arlen continues. Would like to collect a win somehow. He just needs 3 more outs to qualify. He's given up 3 runs. It's Jim Spencer. 53 rolls to first. Larry Heisel, 57's a K. Milt May, 1-6 is a fly to center, and suddenly Steve Arlen has gone, let's see. He's only put 3 men on in the last 12 batters. A single, walk, and an error. So that's pretty good. Into the 6th. Denny Doyle. 2-10, rolls third. Missoula's going to start thinking defense pretty soon here. Ted Simmons, 1-7, double 111's a single. Eric Soderholm, 2-6 is a walk. Oscar Gamble, 2-5 is a 4-6-3 double play. You could improve some defense in your infield. Technically not too much, though. Yeah, they're going to leave it alone. They're going to leave everything alone. Not going to touch the defense. In a 7-3 game, Arlen does continue. Bottom of the 6th. It's Terry Crowley, 33, pops a second. Gene Alley, 4-10, third X. Third baseman is Soderholm, a 3-34. They could have improved this position. They did not. It's a single. Daryl Thomas, 6'11", first X. This is Joe Liss. They had no improvement at that position. That's a 4-20. It's an error. Oh boy, here we go again. Crappy defense. 2 on, inning should be over for Bobby Tolan. 39, single 1-6. He cannot get it on a 15. That's because Bobby Tolan, batting 9th, hit just 206. For the 73 Reds, which is why he was gone. And back up top to Lou Brock. 65. Home run if you have power. Lou does not against righties at this point of his career. He has it against lefties, though. Could have been a home run, just a single. RBI single ... You got runners on the corners in a 7-4 game. Your tie run is Dave Cash, who also does not have power. Arlen's a starter 6. Of note, Jim Brewer is not available today. He went 3 innings in the Game 3 victory. So your bullpen is kind of short. We're going to have to push Arlen to the breaking point with a decent lead here. Dave Cash is your tie run. There are runners on the corners. There are 2 outs. Here's the pitch. The best option might be hitting it to some defense. 2-10, nope. It's a homer chance for a guy without power. Homer 1-9 to tie the game, and the game is tied. It's as simple as that. So the guy doesn't have power, which is why you pitched to him. He only had 2 home runs, and that was one of the 2. And Savannah Magic again, folks, as Steve Arlen blows this thing. Those are all unearned. It's 7-7. He's broken. I'm leaving him in there. Whatever at this point. 56, fly ball left. It's called crappy spring training baseball. 7-7 in the 7th, and you know what? Bob Gibson's leaving the game. Arlen will leave as well. Once you have been on the hook for a loss and you're taken off the hook, you do not go back on the hook. Ask any worm that's been fishing. If you jump off that thing, you're not in a hurry to jump back on it. So Dick Lang will come on in the 7th inning. He would inherit a loss if he gives up a run here. And he'll face Dave Winfield. Seemed like the series is just about over, but this could go on for days. Dave Winfield, 1-9's a single. Larry Stahl, 19's a K. Joe List, 68, flies left. And Ted Kubiak, 2-6, is a walk. 2 on, 2 outs for Paul Blair. 34 is a ground ball to third. Stretch time here in Savannah, Georgia. We're listening to this dump truck, Positively Dump Truck LP of 1985. Really cool. Back Where I Belong was the big hit. Let's throw that one up. That's a pretty cool tune. This was a big hit on the radio at the time. Way back in the day, as we like to say. Dump truck. Back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. 7-7. Arlen's gone. Someone has to inherit this mess. We'll go Woody Fryman. If Missoula blows this series, we could point to the 7-4 lead they had in this decisive game, in which Savannah has to reel off 3 straight wins. Woody Fryman will come on in the 7th inning. Woody Fryman's card is up for renewal for Las Vegas. They're not going to take this one, though. With a Tiger in 73, he's got a 5.36 ERA. After a brilliant 72 of them. Bottom of the 7th, Larry Heisel. Neither team has gone to the bench to this point. 4:10 left. Milt May, 1-9's a single. Batting for Terry Crowley will be Cito Gaston. 5-12 rolls to first. He'll take over in right field, better defensively. And with 2 outs, Gene Alley, you know, he's had a lousy day. We'll get rid of him as well. It'll be Hector Torres who will take over at short. Thomas goes to second, Cash will go to third. Here's the pitch to Hector Torres. 6-11 off Fryman. Pitcher X, Woody, is an E8. Wouldn't shock me at all if he gums this one up. We've seen a lot of that today, but he makes the play. All right, 8th inning. Dick Lang continues 7-7. Denny Doyle. 66 pops to third. If you're wondering about extra innings, we go with a modern game. We start with a guy at second base. Ted Simmons, 2-8, grounds first. Eric Soderholm, 1-8 is a base hit. And Oscar Gamble, we left him in there, which is a good thing because we need more offense. 1-2, grounds the third. Bottom of the 8th, Woody continues. Darryl Thomas. 67 for Darryl is single 1 to 16. He gets it. B. Steeler. Bobby Tolan will hit and run. Pops out on a 10. Up top to Lou Brock having a nice day. Reached 3 times. 69 off of Woody's a walk. 2 on, 1 out. Dave Cash, the star of the day. Great tournament. 3-run homer. 2-5. Lions the third. Jim Spencer will swing away against a lefty. 66. Oh, that's the only triple 1 to 3. Jim Spencer, it's about 200 versus lefties. Doesn't matter. That's an RBI single, and Savannah's come all the way back, taking an 8-7 lead. Fryman's a relief 3. He'll continue. Larry Heisel, 68. There's another walk. Milt May, 3-12. Fouls to the catcher. Well, it's an 8-7 game. Looks like, and it appears that Savannah was a heavy favorite to win this game, and they probably will somehow. And it'll be Tom House coming in the 9th. See if he can blow the lead. Will there be errors, bad pitching, double plays, hit into? We'll find out. In the 9th, you got Winfield leading off. 47 off of House is double 1 to 12. He cannot get it and flies to center. Missed opportunity offense. Larry Stoll swing away. 54, center B. And with 2 outs, it's Joe Liss. 2-7 strikeout, and there's ball game. And Savannah continues their magic. Down 4 in the elimination game, no biggie. They come back and even the series 2 games apiece. Missoula still chasing that elusive 3rd win. House gets the save with a strikeout in the 9th. We'll give Dick Lang a victory. 2 innings of relief. He gives up a hit, walk, and a K. 2 hits on a walk and a K. Everything else was Bob Gibson, and now no decision, giving up 13 hits, 7 runs, and 6 innings. Bob Gibson, yep. And it's all earned because the error occurred in the inning they did not score. A walk, 7 strikeouts. Woody takes the loss, giving up the 2-out single in the 8th inning. 2 hits, a run, and 2 walks. And what happened down there? Nothing there. Steve Arlen gets a no decision. Wasn't very good at all. 8 hits, 7 runs. That wasn't earned. Those aren't earned. 2 are earned. So only 2 earned runs in 6 innings. That's actually considered a quality start, I suppose. 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. 101-9, 01-08, 8-10, 7-15. 8-10, 7-15. Hate to see the disparity. The team that puts more runners on base loses. 2-9, 4-3, 4-3, 2-9. Yep. Missoula trying to win the series, put 17 men on base. Didn't work. Savannah put 14 on base. Gotta call it a pretty lousy baseball game there, folks. Game 4. I played a lot of them. All right. All tied up. We'll take a look at some standings, and then I'll continue on and come back with the results of what happens in this mess. Missoula beat the crap out of Bob Gibson, and it didn't really matter, did it? So Savannah now. 10-8 in the tournament. They've scored 77 runs. They've given up 85. That's not very good. Hitting .250 with a 3.84 ERA. That's right around the tournament average. Bob Gibson's 3-2. Tom Bradley's 1-4. Tom House has 4 saves. We got 5 home runs for Terry Crowley in 18 games. Normally a pinch hitter. He's trying to audition for a DH spot somewhere in our league. That's a nice performance for him. Don't think I'll succeed in finding a spot, but it's a good showing nonetheless. Let's take a look at Missoula's stats now. These are the stats of the #1 seed in the tournament. They're hitting .273 with a 2.41 team ERA. That's outstanding. They've scored 77 runs. They've only given up 48. That's also outstanding. Just don't throw a 3-run homer to Dave Cash, who doesn't have power. I only hit 2, because that's what just happened, that ridiculous break. I'd be done right now, but I'm not. Wilbur Wood is 3-2. Something the White Sox are watching with his 73 card. He's given up 14 runs in 34 1/3 innings. That's a 3.67 ERA. So he's really not, at this point of Wilbur's career, he's probably not one of the top 5 pitchers in the league, but he's probably still somewhere in the top 10, top 15. Worthy of being an ace, but just not as amazing as he was in 1971 and 72. We'll call it that. Ray Corbin's auditioning as a #2 starter with a really good card, and he's just given up 7 runs in 23 innings, pitched into some bad luck. 2 of the 5 Missoula losses attributed to him. Jim Brewer, still property of the Dodgers, still lights out. 8 innings, no runs allowed, 2 saves. Not much in the power department other than Ted Simmons. Ted Simmons having a heck of a tournament. 6 homers, 12 RBIs in 14 games. He's 20 for 56. 357 for Ted Simmons. This team has been successful because they have 3 different guys with... It's Simmons, Soderholm, and Winfield all have 20 hits in the middle of the offense there. You'd expect Missoula to win this tournament in one of the next 2 days. Savannah's been channeling success of previous years to play spoiler. We'll look at the year-to-date. Here we go. And again, year-to-date, we're hitting .254 with a 3.75 ERA, which is pretty close to what Savannah's stats were. They're pretty close to the league average there. Yet they have a negative run differential. So with 4 games in the books in an even series, After a day off, they fly back to Missoula for games 5 and 6. Tom Bradley will face Wilbur Wood again on short rest this time. Former teammates. They're not teammates in 73. Bradley was sent to the Giants. Jim Brewer can come back after a couple days off now. He would be available. Wilbur Wood and Tom Bradley in a game 5. If there's a game 6, it's back to game 1 starters, Doc Ellis, Ray Corbin. We'll give you the result and also show you the 20 cards of the team that loses this series. So stick around. All right, team. This is the loser. Savannah, they are not the defending champs anymore. They lost in a 5th game. It was Wilbur Wood winning for the 2nd time over Tom Bradley and also routing them as well. Tom Bradley really got knocked around this tournament a few times. We'll see that card. So we'll begin by looking at guys we do not have to worry about. The carry-on guys with another card in 74 or 5. Beginning with Lou Brock. We have his AAA card of 74 in use, so we're not using this card. Dave Cash has a better average in a future card. Heisel, pretty much the same thing. These are good cards for these guys, but they have better cards in 74 or 5. Same with Milt May. Very consistent players. Could, if it is determined, frankly, with any of these guys, that you want to go retro and move a 74 back into 73 because you want to select somebody else in the draft in 74, it can be done. These are very consistent players. Doesn't matter one year to the next too much. Jim Spencer, you know, with this card, as a 1E2 defender, you also have to look and say, hey, you know what? He isn't really that awful against lefties. Right now, he's simply a platoon player because he can't hit lefties with a 74 card. And then Tom House, this is not even a consideration. He's not good here. In 74, he's brilliant with a sub-2 ERA. So this is the only card of this group where it really does matter. It's, no, we don't want that one. So here's where the evaluation begins. These are all keepers. John Ellis assigned to Seattle. This would be a fine card as a catcher first baseman. He has a few good years in the timeline here. This is a 270 with 14 home runs. If I'm an expansion team who didn't even exist during this timeline, I'd be happy to have a versatile catcher first baseman like John Ellis. Look at the power over there. That's nice. Clarence Gaston is property of the Padres still. They have a lot of outfielders now in San Diego. Of course, we know Dave Winfield can play right field. But this guy hits a lot of home runs over versus lefties. He's reasonable versus righties. He could be an everyday player. Worst case, he's a platoon player. He's had 16 homers. So if the Padres can't find room for this nice Cito Gaston card, someone will pick it up. Darryl Thomas was traded to Milwaukee in the offseason to become their second baseman, but not with this year of Darryl Thomas. He's still a liability defensively, but he's got a nice 1975 card with improved defense and hitting. Now an extensive list of pitchers who are all on the keeper list to be evaluated, beginning with Tom Bradley, who really struggled in the spring training tournament. He was awful, particularly his last 2 starts. His one win was a shutout and 5 losses. He's no longer a member of the White Sox. He was traded to the Giants. We have traded him to Seattle, and he only has 1 year left that's any good. It's this year. So for Seattle, yeah, they're going to be adding John Ellis and probably Tom Bradley from 1973 to the Mariners. Here's a really nice Bob Gibson card, probably the best one. Now, he doesn't pitch on over 200 innings. I don't care. I like the ERA and the fact he's so much better here than he is in 74 or 5. Still starter 8. So the Cardinals will probably move John Curtis or Bob Forsch into the 1 spot and move Gibson into the 2 spot, where he's still the old Bob Gibson. What's the strikeouts? He's down 142, but just 12 homers allowed. Al Downing's had some remarkably good spring trainings the last few years for Savannah. Here he's a starter 6 with a 3.31 ERA in 193 innings. He's property of the Ohio players. They have to decide. Actually, no, he was traded. That's right. He was traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. So Milwaukee has to decide, do you want him as a lefty starter, or do you want to take him later in his career and put him in your bullpen? I think Milwaukee's going to have to add Bill Travers. Bill Travers on the Brewers would kick Al Downing into the bullpen. Doc Ellis is on the Ohio players, and this would be a fine card. He's 28 years old. He's got a 3.05 ERA. His last really good year in Pittsburgh. He's got a nice year with the Yankees in 76. They could also take that card. Ron Schuler is property of Atlanta. Here he's still a starter. When he goes to the bullpen, he improves. Doesn't pitch as many innings. You see, he's got 186 innings, but the ERA climbs to 3.87. They might want to pick a card of his as a reliever only. And now, waivered players. These are put on waivers. Can they stick around in our league? Gene Alley, he's a 4 at third and short. Batting average is down. Does have power versus righties. If you somehow needed a reverse platoon, he's actually reasonable on the right side with power. For a shortstop, this is not bad, but there's not much else to hang your hat on there. Crowley's had a nice spring. He's 26 years old. He's got just a 600 OPS. So the average and the slugging is down. He simply got lucky with a lot of these homer 1 and 9s. I'm just not. No, I don't think. Even though he hit 6 homers in spring training, I don't think this card will be picked up. There has to be better DHs than that, you'd think. Bobby Tolan played his way out of Cincinnati with this card. Great defense in right field with a minus arm, but the bat just fell apart. Terrible. And during this time, the Reds were moving on to Ken Griffey and George Foster and saying goodbye to this guy. The good news, Tolan has a very nice 74 where he brings the batting average up to 260. That card will mostly be picked up off waivers. Tom Tournament had a nice 1972 with the Tigers, got hurt late in that year, moved over to Cleveland, had a very mediocre season. I don't know if he'll be able to continue in the carryover league. And lastly, there's a couple undrafted free agents. Guys have never been in the league, beginning with the curious case of Hector Torres. Let's look at the batting average. 091, folks. I love this. I love it when an 091 card gets an evaluation. Meaning, that's saying we're scourging every card. We're not just going to throw that one away. We're going to evaluate it. Can we get an 091 card in the league? He's a shortstop who's a 3. Against lefties, he's got an entire column of on-base plus more. This is horrible. Okay? He can bunt. And he is just... he can play second base also. So he can play second. He can play short. He's got a reasonable on base against lefties. Can he get into the league? Maybe. Chuck Scrivener in the late 70s hit 077, and I got him into the league as he was a 316 at short. The downfall of Torres might be the E rating. He's an E44 shortstop. I mean, come on, folks. What are we doing here? I mean, I'm trying to put rose-colored glasses on. He's still an E44 short. If some team is so desperate that they just need that amount of on base and they select him, well, good for them. And good for Hector. And lastly, Dick Lang. Too many homers over there, though not a lot of hits. Oh, they're the hits and the homers. As a righty who kind of gets lefties out, it's better than the reverse. If this was there and that was there, that's a thumbs down. But statistically, 444 earned run average. I mean, if you're a team that somehow needs a righty reliever to get lefties out, and they're all gone by this point of the draft, then you'd buckle down and just close your, you do this and go, hey, he ain't that bad. As a right-hand reliever, he gets lefties out. But, I don't know. It's going to be really tough for Hector Torres and Dick Lang at this point to get into the carryover league. And that, folks, leaves us with just 4 teams left in the Winter Baseball Classic. The number 1 Missoula will host number 6 Mississippi. And then we have a battle of number 3 Memphis and number 2 Halifax. That's your final 4. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.